How many of us are completely comfortable with calling ourselves a leader? If you ask this question anywhere, there's always a huge portion of people who just won't raise their hand. I've come to realize that we've made leadership into something bigger than us. We've made it about changing the world, and we've taken this title of leader as something we want to achieve one day. The truth is, you don't have to be a politician, a 4-star general, or some sort of chief executive to be a leader. Every single one of us can make a difference and lead in some way or another, because leadership is not about position. A non-traditional leader exhibits leadership through their actions, innovations, and influence. And all of us can be non-traditional leaders in one way or another. And with my brief time today, I want to share with you the one story that is probably the most responsible for this definition of non-traditional leadership. It was a crisp autumn afternoon when I, a freshman in high school, found myself standing outside the local homeless shelter. My parents sent me for a volunteer community service program, and I was assigned to help in the shelter's kitchen, preparing meals for the residents. As I washed vegetables and stirred pots, I couldn't help but glance at the people around me. Men and women who seemed worn down by life's hardships. After a few hours of work, a middle-aged man with a warm smile and kind eyes approached me and said, "Hey there, young man. Thank you for lending a hand today. I'm the manager of the shelter, and I remember the first time that I met you, and oh my, you have grown taller since then. Time really does fly, doesn't it?" And then he said, "It was 3 years ago on a cold evening, much like today. I was in a tough spot, homeless and struggling. You and your father came across me in that alley downtown, and the care package you both offered me, food, blankets, and socks. It was a lifeline in that moment of darkness. I remember you telling me, things will get better, you have the strength to overcome this. And then you did something amazing. You took out a packet of Jellybeans and said, I want you to have these too. Sweetness can bring hope too." Little did I know, those words and the gesture of Jellybeans would resonate deeply with the man, igniting a spark of determination within him that eventually led to his transformation and the impactful work he now did at the shelter. And that was such an eye-opening, transformative moment for me to think that maybe the biggest impact I'd ever had on anyone's life, a moment that had a man walk up to a kid and say, "You've been an incredibly important person in my life," was a moment that I couldn't even recall. How many of us have had a Jellybean moment? A moment where someone did something that fundamentally made our lives better? How many of them have we created? And how many of them have we acknowledged? We've made leadership about changing the world, but there is no world. There are only 8 billion perceptions of it. And if you change one person's perception of what they're capable of, one person's perception of how many people care about them, then you have influenced society in a non-traditional way. Non-traditional leadership is about having Jellybean moments. Small yet profound acts that ripple through people's lives, shaping perspectives and inspiring limitless potential.